Hello. Can all of you hear me at the back? Yeah? Gautam, can you hear me? Yeah. Anand, can you hear me? Okay, so first of all, let me thank MMA for hosting this session, and my go-to person is Group Captain Vijay Kumar. I've said this before in this forum earlier. You know, Group Captain Vijay Kumar's father and my father were friends from first standard. They've been very close friends for many, many, many years, and I'm delighted that I can call, Group Captain Vijay Kumar as a friend. And all I have to do is send him a copy of my new book, and he will call me and say, "Look, when are you doing the launch at MMA?" And so thank you, Vijay, for arranging this, and delighted to be here. So you may wonder, normally in a book launch, the author will talk a lot and there'll be someone interviewing the author, right? So I'm doing it differently. I'm going to talk a little bit about my book. Then I'm going to quiz Ram and Satya about my book. So let me thank Ram and Satya for agreeing to be on this, panel. And of course, I've got a very, very interesting person, Manoj, who says I don't read books, which is great, right? So he's going to talk about mixology, right? So it's going to be a fun conversation, and we'll, when do we need to finish, Vijay? 7:15. Okay. So we'll have, you can't get him. He is India's #1 mixologist. So how many of you drink hard liquor? How many of you drink hard liquor here? So a lot of hands are not going up, but he can give you some pretty interesting tips. So we will come. Okay, so let me first start telling you a little bit about the book, and then we'll get to Ram and Satya to talk more about. The book is a very simple book, and you may ask me why give this funny title, Marketing Mixology. So the book was actually born in very different form. About 4 years ago, Gautam, who's there at the back, my publisher at Westland, they had a joint venture with Amazon, and Amazon wanted me to write a short book for their Amazon Prime offer. So I wrote a 10,000 word book, a mini book on negotiations. That book did very well. It actually topped Amazon Prime ratings. And the next year, they again invited me. I wrote another short version on branding. So these were sold to Amazon, but after 1 year, the copyright came back to me. So I had two 10,000 word pieces. My agent, Anish Chandy, and Gautam's colleague, Kartika, said, "Look, we can put out a nice little book if you write 2 more chapters." So I wrote 2 new chapters, one on understanding consumers and one on communication. And Aradeep went and looked at the 4 chapters together, and he said, "These are not flowing together, so please rewrite." So I ended up, what I thought was an easy job, I ended up rewriting everything, and I put it together. And then I said, I need an interesting title. I can't say simple marketing. I can't say easy marketing, old boring title. So I said, something went to my head. I wanted a funny title. So I decided the title of the book should be Marketing Masala Mix. And I even thought of a nice cover of a Badshah Masala pack. Of course, Kartika threw a fit. She said, "You can't, with your name, you can't call it like that. So, sorry, you have to think of some other name." And what do you do when you need ideas these days? Google, boss. Google is over. What do you do when you need ideas? ChatGPT, right? So I went to ChatGPT and wrote multiple prompts. Hey, idhar aa ja, yaar. Where is he going? Come sit here, yaar. So I went to ChatGPT, 3-4 rounds of prompting, and I found the word mixology somewhere. And that's where, I said, Marketing Mixology is the title. And I asked ChatGPT, can you design a cover for me with 4 bottles, each bottle labeled, branding, communication, this thing. And ChatGPT gave me a cover design, which was a little crude. But fortunately for me, both Anish Chandy and Kartika loved the title and even thought the cover was okay. And then later, the cover was redesigned by an artist. And so that's the book you have. Why is it mixology? Why is it mixed? Because no marketing book writes about negotiation. This book, there's a full chapter on negotiation. No marketing book writes about communication. Book has a chapter on one-on-one communication and one-to-many communication. Because negotiation is something which I had written, so it stuck in my head. So there's an interesting little anecdote. I will spend a few minutes telling some stories and then I'll come to you. Okay. So in negotiation, there is an interesting story around Theodore Roosevelt. Do you know who he is? Who was he? Theodore Roosevelt, American president, 23rd or some president of America. We will not talk about the current president. I don't want MMA to be bombed. Okay? So Theodore Roosevelt was running for president. His campaign manager found a nice photograph of Theodore Roosevelt and printed a leaflet with that photograph. Not one leaflet, he printed 1 million leaflets. And then someone asked the campaign manager, have you taken permission from the photographer for this use of the Theodore Roosevelt photograph? The campaign manager says no. Okay, then you may have to reprint the leaflet, which is 1 million leaflet. Reprinting could cost you $2 million. Or you have to go and ask the photographer for permission, and he may want $1 million as a fee, as license fee. So the campaign manager is not like any of us. He's a political campaign manager. So he knew that he has to find a solution. He didn't have $1 million. So he sent a telegram. In those days, he sent a telegram to the photographer saying, great opportunity to publicize your work. We would like to use the photograph you had taken of Theodore Roosevelt in a campaign leaflet. How much will you pay us for this? So the photographer sent a telegram back. Thank you very much. I can only afford to pay you $250. The campaign manager says, okay. So he took $250. Instead of paying the photographer $1 million, he got $250 from the photographer. And this is, in negotiation terms, this is called information asymmetry. The campaign manager knew the leaflet has been printed, but the photographer had no idea. Right? And therefore, he traded on the information asymmetry, and he actually ended up making money instead of spending money. That's one episode. There are multiple other such stories which are there in the chapter on negotiation. It should be fun. Communication. In communication, I came across, and all of us write, and very often we write complex sentences. So I was doing some workshop for PepsiCo, and Shiv was the CEO then, did a little exercise with all of us, and he introduced me to this concept called the gunning fog index. Any of you heard of this gunning fog index? Right? So gunning fog index actually is a website. I mean, it's public domain. You can go. Anything you write, you can put it on the gunning fog index, and the index will tell you how many years of schooling you need to understand this para or this chapter or this article. So normal rule is if it is 8 or 9, you're okay. 7, 8, 9 is okay. Between 7 to 8 years of school education, you can understand that what has been written. Something like 12, 13, you're in danger zone. Which you need a doctorate like Satya to understand or me. I'm not a real, but she's a more senior doctor than me. So you have to do a doctorate. So Gunning Fog Index is a very interesting thing. So in the chapter I've written that this particular chapter I put through Gunning Fog Index and it scored a 7, which means you'll easily understand this. So like this, there are multiple little things. In communication, there are many stories. Similarly, in the branding, there are multiple stories. So it's an easy to read book. Those of you who are in marketing can probably read it in about an hour and a half and kind of get your old concepts refreshed. Professors like Vijay Shankar there can read it in half an hour, right? IIM Calcutta toppers like Vichu or IIM Ahmedabad topper like Swami can read it in probably 20 minutes. But if you're new to marketing, of course, my old guru, Naru sitting there, will find the book very basic. Naru, hello, Naru. Naru is my old guru. He will find the book very, very basic. But for most of you who are relatively new to marketing, you will find this a very easy read, a good introduction to the concept of marketing. So what I'm going to do is to start asking, and Ram also has some questions for me, but asking Ram what he found interesting in the book, and then I'll go to Satya, and then we'll come to the mixology part of today's conversation. Okay, so Ram, yeah.
First of all, thank you, Ambi and MMA, for having me in the panel. Let me answer the first question, is all the authors have when they have a panelist. I've read the book fully. Actually.
He has read the book fully, and in the panel, I will not tell you, someone has not read the book.
So that was already, you told that. So I read the book. I think what struck me was the way you made the 4 chapters. I mean, one has started many moons back with the Philip Kotler and all that, like 4 P's, then they added one more P and S and all that. But very well done with the insights into actual way it works for various products and services. I think the idea of a consumer insight brand and then negotiation, selling and communication is in very simple ways telling people that your job or your marketing strategy or program is not complete unless you have all the 4.
Vaidi, frontla seat onakku vechirukkinga vandru.
Vaidi is searching for the last chair is already filled up, Vaidi. So you
last row is not available. You have to sit in the first row for the first time in your life.
Vaidi, I think. Vaidi is classmate of
Vaidi
Ambi.
is the IIT Madras classmate of mine, the former head of technology for HCL. Okay, so.
Yeah. So first thing is I thought you had classified the thing very nicely. And then there are a lot of practical examples, as he had said. I don't want to repeat all of them. One of the things I found very interesting was in the first or the second page, I saw a QR code. So I thought, what is the QR code doing here? And out of curiosity, I just went and looked at the code. It's about linked to some 27 interviews he has had on the brand equity platform with the various practicing CMOs and CEOs. I mean, they're all up for different vintage in the sense they're much younger, must be in their 40s or hardly people with 15 to 25 years experience, which I think brings more authenticity to the whole thing, that it's connected with what's happening because things are changing. Certain things, concepts have not changed, but I think practices have changed, consumers are changing. I think this is the second thing I found very interesting. Apart from that, I think the whole book is organized like this. First is the concept. I mean, it kind of gives you an idea. You do the minimum these things to say you're doing well on branding or whatever, consumer insight and all that. And then it's like a playbook, steps, even including how to write, written communication or what do you do one-on-one and all that. I think this I thought was quite good and quite useful is what I thought. Not only for students or people who are just starting the career, but those who are well experienced also would think that there are some new insights which are coming into this.
Zach, yeah. Seat here kept for you. Come.
So that's
Manoj, Zach aa gaya.
So I would say those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ram. Thank you for those kind words. Honey. Front row. Again, Srini is old IIT Madras friend, and Zach is owner of a very successful advertising agency called Rubicon. And we've known these three people I've known for probably 40 plus years. So Satya, all yours. Satya's very diligent. She's made notes, she's put post-it tags, and
I took Ambi's advice in the book. It said prepare, right? And so thank you. Absolutely delighted to be back here at the MMA. Thank you, Group Captain. Among so many friends of Ambi's and also my own. So lovely to be here this evening.
Aren't you nervous? Because your better half is sitting there?
I banned him from this evening, but he didn't listen, as always. But what struck me, right, as I read through the book, and I finished it this morning just in time for today, was how almost deceptively simple and straightforward the book was. And essentially, it's not flashy jargon, new trends, none of that. Cut straight through the core to what I'm going to call first principles. Know and listen to your customer. Make sure you have rigor in crafting a very sharp proposition for your brand. The psychology, more than anything else, of selling. And the fourth is clear, relevant, and deeply human communication. And I think for me, this is what actually stood out in the book, that it actually goes back to core skills of marketing that are truly enduring, right, over decades and over the times, and reminds marketeers, no doubt, but also I think it's a very easy read for all the other stakeholders in any organization who don't necessarily understand marketing, but need to be able to actually challenge marketeers also globally.
Thank you, Satya. So, thank you very much. And now let's go to Manoj. Okay. So, Manoj, I want you to tell us what is the origin of this term mixologist, and when did it start? And
Sure. Before going in there, let me clear some air here. Everybody is looking at as if I'm an odd man out
he has a very, very interesting background. So I think you should tell them.
I'll tell you, when I got this opportunity, I'm very privileged to be here, right? Zach called me one of those mornings that I call early mornings, 9 a.m. And he said, this is the man who's going to call you. I want you to do this. I said, Zach, very interesting. I'll speak to him. When he told about this, just a quick introduction where everybody thinks that I'm just a mixologist, where I stir up alcoholic drinks and make your evening fun. My day job, or the most interesting thing that I do, is marketing. I've been selling products. And today, the medium of marketing for me has changed. It has become Instagram. And as I was telling them, I've never been able to read much, but I'm sure that this book is going to become an audio book, and I will promise you I will take notes and send you. When I saw the title, Marketing Mixology, I said, damn, if there is a chance of writing my autobiography, this should have been a title, right? I have a perfect mix of marketing and mixology. So coming to this very interesting, and with the way that you are picking points on what the book is talking about, I'm very interested. Maybe this is the first book I will read.
But you should tell them that,
Sure.
People may get the wrong impression you never read books in your life. So.
I'm an engineer.
He's an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I've started cooking very early in age, more from a survival, because you can see me. I love to eat. My mom thought that I should learn cooking before I go to college, and that's when it all started. I come from a place called Mayuram, which is down south. And I was selling software services in the US. I came back to India and then I took over my family business. I was running a very fundamental old chit funds company called Myvaram Finance Corporation Limited. It's a 75-year-old company. I tried to blend in 10 years, but I've never had an opportunity to sell a service there because I was a little misfit, so I sold the company. So that's the background. And when I sold it, I always wanted to be in F&B. That kind of interested me a lot. So I started a restaurant called Pandan Club in Chennai. That's the first restaurant that I started. Now I'm in a full-time F&B profession. I run many other restaurants. And for a day job, I sell food through various mediums. And that's my job. And mixology is one portion of stuff that I do. I really enjoy mixing drinks. And also that came in while I got, as a sales guy, I used to travel a lot. I've traveled to 50 countries. Right now, how YouTube is, those evenings when I don't have anything to do, I go and sit in a bar and just watch bartenders mixing fun drinks. And that's how I learned the craft. So when I come back, there's a lot more happening in major cities in India, like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, even Goa, which was not available in Chennai. The mixology is all about the craft and balance that you bring in a drink. It's not about putting fruit juices into alcohol and mixing up. And even we went ahead and started a movement called Zero ABV. I hate this word mocktail. There's nothing to mock at it. You can call it juice, right? So we created base drinks, and I do have somebody from the industry called Shobhan sitting there, and he runs a bar school. So we crafted zero ABV drinks. We crafted non-alcoholic scotch. We crafted non-alcoholic cocktails.
Non-alcoholic scotch.
Scotch, cocktails, Negronis. That became a big movement. And the world is actually moving towards that direction with a lot of Gen Zs choosing not to drink for various
Just to step in here, I think audience may not be aware, but the fastest growing segment in the US, in the beer market, is the non-alcoholic beer.
It's called the zero ABV. It doesn't have alcohol. And we proudly can say we won the India's best award in the zero ABV section. And when we brought that to Chennai, a lot of attention came to Chennai. And me being part of storyteller, used that opportunity to tell stories from Chennai. And maybe that's why I'm here. So,
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And give a round of applause for his. So, where did these guys who mix drinks were called bartenders? When did they get called mixologists?
See, mixology is something like a liquid chef. Bartending is you pour straight drinks, you offer soda, tonic. You basically have standards. Mixology is all about finding the right balance in a craft and giving you a very delicious drink. And how do I say this? Like, for example, Indian cooking is a great example. Indian cooking is not like Western cooking where you are assembling few things. It's homogeneous. You put in everything. The moment you taste a curry or a sambar or a chicken curry, you don't know what all ingredients have gone in. It's an amalgamation that comes in a liquid. I feel that's mixology. That's exact. There's a lot more of preparation goes in. It's craft, it's techniques. Then when it comes to your table, you can't visually see ingredients that are separate. It's mixed by a craft and gives you a balanced drink.
So, which is your favorite drink? Why?
I'm a little old school actually from an angle. I like classic drinks. The drinks, I'm a Scotch drinker, so I like something called old fashioned. It's fairly simple, just bourbon, bitters, a little bit of brown sugar. And that's my favorite drink. I like simple drinks. I like drinks that evokes emotions. And I don't like mixing too many things, even though I mix minimal.
For yourself?
For myself.
But for your customers?
For my customers, I would say the world is not moving towards just taste. It has to be visually appealing. It has to come with a story. It should have drama. even the old smoking effect and stuff like that is going. Now there is a movement going on ice program. If you look at the new age cocktails, you can't see the ice. It's invisible. It's called clear ice. There's a craft to make clear ice. Actually, Chennai, we are one of the very few bars which use that, and it comes from Delhi. It's a craft. It's a lot of expensive machinery that you need to put in. So I'm saying people are enjoying spirit-forward drinks. Gone are those days where you drink a cocktail and taste like watermelon juice. Now it has to taste like gin.
These are things you guys are learning, huh? Please. Spirit forward.
It's called spirit forward.
It's called spirit forward, which means what you're drinking, the spirit is forward.
It's forward, and also you'll feel it.
Spirit forward drink is
and that's the movement that's happening.
Is a trend, right? I mean,
it's a trend right now.
It's a big trend. So people who come to you for which drink? So they must be asking you to, which is the most popular drink that way?
See, when I do a program or a bar program in which we create drinks, like exactly in marketing, we understand the consumer. First of all, for example, I'll take an example and explain to you that in the marketing side, right? Like, for example, let's take a Pandan Club, my restaurant. I have variety of people walking in, various age groups, various demographic, various taste preferences. But first, like how in marketing, we define the consumer and then we create a campaign, right? So we have to define the customer. Let's take my mom. I've noticed her always go to a place and say, no ice. Put less ice. Children vana. But I want her to order a drink because she has money to spend. I need her money.
Yeah, you need her money. Yeah.
I need her money. I need all the kitty ladies who's coming in the evening to have a gin or something. I've created a drink with this without ice.
Without ice?
Without ice. So that's the demography that I'm going behind. And it comes in a champagne flute. It looks stylish. You can say cheers and you look cool. So my drinks program is based on who the audience is. And then there is a drink called movie night.
Movie night?
It's called movie night. Chennai is big into movies. When you go to Satyam Theatre or now PVR, movie could be good or bad. What do you order? What's the first drink that you've had in college? What is that? Like, name a brand. I mix these two. An Old Monk Negroni mixed with a popcorn infusion. Popcorn infusion. It's called movie night. And my restaurant is in T Nagar and Kodambakkam is close by. I told the story. Most sold drink. And who's drinking it? Gen Z. My father's drink is Old Monk, so I want to try it. But
Old Monk?
Old Monk. It's called something called a fat wash. You soak popcorn into it and put it in a freezer. Because of the fat, the popcorn gets absorbed in Old Monk and it gives you the flavor of popcorn. And then we mix certain aromas.
My God.
And that's
my head is spinning. Yeah. One day seminar on movie night drink.
Yeah.
On mixing. Okay.
Mixing.
In fact, I should tell you this. When I called him to come for this, he agreed and he said, "Can I bring some liquor and mix it in front of your audience?" I said, I don't think MMA's policy will allow that, and club captain will probably shoot us. But if you're doing it, you have not told me that you're doing it. But I think he's been nice. He didn't bring his neck.
Yeah. So when you say what is the favorite, we build drinks for audience, and we market it to that specific audience, and that's mixology for me. It doesn't stay just from making the drink. It's also communicating that to the consumer and making them consume with that story in mind is important.
Do you have a brand?
I go by a brand called Big Banda, and that's my brand.
You covered all of the chapters.
Okay, so we'll come back to you, Manoj. Sure. I think I've kind of piled on to you too much, but let me come to Ram. And it seems Ram has some questions for me, which he has told me he will not alert me ahead of time. So these are like surprise quiz. He's starting. Anyway, start.
No, the first question is about, this is very recent, you might know, having been in the advertising industry. Actually, my questions are not entirely related to the book, but little beyond the book probably. But I thought we'll take advantage of your experience and whatever knowledge you have. First is, you must have heard of this guy, Mark Reed, WPP, who resigned. They say he resigned because he could not manage the digital adoption of this advertising agencies. I mean, WPP, everybody knows, is one of the largest. So where is this heading? What's going to happen to the ad agencies going forward? Is there going to be a big transformation or a churn? How do you see things are happening overseas and in India?
Your guess is as good as mine, right? Because currently the big agencies are going through their own chaos. My old agency, FCB, which is part of Interpublic, has been acquired by Omnicom. So they're going to bring all these agencies together. Interpublic had McCann, FCB, Ulka, and Loeb Lintas. Now that's going to be mashed together with DDB, BBDO, and TPW. Now what's going to come out of this whole masala mix could be another book called Advertising Mixology. Right? But the big problem is the big agencies are under threat from two totally different ends. On the one end, their business is being threatened by the consultants. Accenture has a very big advertising practice. So does McKinsey, very big advertising practice. So Accenture, McKinsey know CEOs. So they're going to talk to CEOs and say, look, your advertising is not delivering results. We will do it for you. So they're going to come there. At the bottom, there are these independents, even India. For my last book launch, I had invited a guy called Harshil Karia. Now, Harshil Karia runs an agency called Shebang. Now, Shebang is 5 years old. It employs 2,000 people. Zach, 2,000 people. And, he's got offices in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and in London and Amsterdam. Right? So all this he has done in 5 years, which FCB probably took 25 years to get there. But that's happening. Clients are going to go both ways. Some clients are going to go to McKinsey, Accenture. Some clients are going to go to the smaller agencies. In the middle are the old legacy agencies who are still trying to find their feet. But I think the circle will go around. Now I'm told big clients are saying, we don't want multiple agencies. Can you Publicis handle my whole thing, right? You handle my advertising, handle my PR, handle my digital, handle my website, handle my analytics. So it's going to go that way. So that's also happening. Where it will end, I don't know. And of course, the big question mark is AI, right? How is AI going to be used? Will it, I started my career in advertising, and for almost 2 years, I was a very diligent minutes taker in meetings. I used to take minutes and write pretty good minutes. Now you don't need that job at all. I mean, that can be outsourced to an AI app. All you need to do is keep your mobile phone on when the conversation is going on and then go back, transcribe it. I mean, Zach and his team here, we were having a meeting with a client the other day, and 5 minutes later, I got the minutes. Pretty well written. Now, what's going to happen to those young account executive trainees whose job is to write those minutes? Now, if they don't learn to write the minutes, tomorrow they will not be able to find fault with minutes written by ChatGPT. So it's going to be a kind of a slippery slope. So these are things which agencies have.
Just a quick follow-up question is, how did Accenture and McKinsey get into this, and what is the skill they brought in which advertising agencies didn't have? Must have happened in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah. So I think, in FCB, we used to pride in ourselves by saying that we are not an ad agency, we are a marketing consultant. In fact, I remember Piyush, pulling my leg saying, "Tumhara kya agency nahi hai, tum to consultant ho," right? So good old days, agencies used to have a seat at the table of the CEO. We used to be on hello terms with key clients, whether it was Mr. Premji or Ravikant or Ramadurai. They used to call us, we used to call them, right? No more. Now the relationship an agency has gone down from CEO to CMO all the way down to the brand manager. Right? Whereas who owns the relationship at the CEO level? It's the consultant. It's a McKinsey, the Accenture, the Bain, BCG. They own the relationship. So they can easily push the client towards the situation that your advertising agency is not doing a good job. I will put my team to analyze your advertising and recommend what solutions you can work on. And that's happening, unfortunately.
I'll ask you the second question, which is, you talked about integrated communication. And today we know digital presence is 100% required. And of course, earlier days there used to be a media plan and all people used to make. And it was pretty simple, I think, not so complicated. How is this evolving? Because is there an algorithm? Is there a way to measure how much you should put here? How are people doing? That's what I wanted to know. Maybe the audience may also be interested. How do you allocate money in this?
There is no one formula, right? Good old days when I started my career in advertising, the media we used was print, newspaper, magazines, and cinema, right? And a little bit of radio. Then television became big. We started using Doordarshan, and then Doordarshan then kind of became satellite TV, and then now it's all digital. No media plan is complete, or media plan starts with YouTube and Meta, and then you add other things. But there are a lot of metrics available, right? There are metrics on impressions, metrics on views, cost per 1,000 impressions, cost per 1,000 views, which is delivering better. But the problem with all the data that I see of these digital campaigns is the data is given by Meta and YouTube, not by an independent third party, right? So I don't know. I mean, I was told yesterday by someone who's in this space saying, YouTube is counting